Hi, this is Pat Johnson, your psychology instructor, and in this mini lecture we're going to talk about mood disorders, and specifically we'll talk about major depressive disorder and bipolar disorder. Now, I want you to think about your life as a line with highs and lows, and for most of us, we are within the normal range where good things happen and bad things happen, and sometimes we're just cruising along and good things happen and then really bad things happen. And so most of us cruise along between some highs, some just neutrals, and some lows. But when we're talking about uh, mood disorders, we're talking about extremes of highs and lows. And the high we call mania, and the low we call depression. So let's first talk about the most common mood disorder, and that's major depressive disorder. In a major depressive disorder, we're not talking about lows like this or even like this. We're talking about real deep lows where the person is experiencing like horrendous low lows that is affecting all areas of life. So in major depressive disorder, we have symptoms like sadness, but it's not just about sadness. It can be rage. People who have major depressive disorder can often be really irritable. It also affects us cognitively, where we're very confused. We don't have a good memory. We can't learn well. We are just very cognitively impaired. Major depressive disorder can affect our weight. It can affect our weight by either causing us to eat all the time and not healthy food but comfort food. Major depressive disorder could also cause us to not be able to sleep or to eat. It also affects us in the realm of sleep, either not being able to sleep at all, where we have insomnia, or sleeping all the time and often at inappropriate times. Last but not least, major depressive disorder can have suicide as a consequence, and that's obviously the worst result of major depressive disorder. So, major depressive disorder is not just feeling down. It's not what we feel when we do poorly on a test or we feel bad about a relationship we're having. In major depressive disorder, it is affecting us in all areas of life: socially, cognitively, emotionally, behaviorally, physically. All of those are symptoms of major depressive disorder. All right, let's move on to bipolar disorder. And in bipolar disorder, often this is another one of those disorders that people throw around the term bipolar because a person is a little bit moody. But bipolar disorder is much more than just being a little bit moody. And remember that line we had where most people are in the normal range. Well, in bipolar disorder, it's like riding a roller coaster because our ups are not normal ups, they are mania. And mania doesn't mean happy, mania means fast forward, out of control. So the person may be irritable, um, they may be argumentative, they may be going from task to task and not finishing anything. They may be spending compulsively. They're probably not sleeping. They may be promiscuous, where they're going from affair to affair. So the mania can be really horrendous, and then usually there is a crash, not into normal, but into deep, deep depression, much similar to the depression we see in major depressive disorder. So bi meaning two, and polar meaning poles. So in bipolar disorder, we have the two poles of mania and depression. What causes mood disorders? We can really go back to that biopsychosocial approach that we saw at the beginning of the semester. So there can be biological aspects to mood disorders. Often we'll find that the neurotransmitters in the person's brain, in other words, those chemicals that are going between synapses, may not be at the right level. We also see psychological aspects to um, mood disorders. So usually the person is thinking and feeling. Remember the psychological part in the biopsychosocial. The psychological part has to do with thoughts and feelings. So the person, let's say, is depressed. They're probably thinking that they're not worth anything, that they'll never do anything well. The thoughts in depression are really insidious. They are really low self-esteem and really down on oneself. And then the social aspect to um, in biopsychosocial approach, the social aspects that could contribute to mood disorders. And let's again talk about depression. Let's suppose the person lost a job, or a relationship ended, or they lost a loved one through death. Those are things in the person's environment that could cause it. So really, when we're looking at mood disorders or any disorder, the best way to look at it is going back and using that biopsychosocial approach to understanding disorders.